and thank you all for attending this presenter prep for obesity. So we are going to go through some ways that we're just going to be working in the room with you to make sure that each session goes really well. And starting from the very top, we are not reinventing any wheels. We will be using Zoom meeting. The only difference between how you regularly use Zoom meetings and how we'll be using it is that attendees won't actually be in your Zoom meeting for the show. They're going to be on the show site platform watching you, much like if they were watching something similar to television. And our technical producer will be taking your image from the Zoom room and projecting it onto the platform for them. So that's the real difference. You won't be communicating with them through the chat in the Zoom. They're going to be on the platform doing Q&A, like posting their questions. And then someone from the obesity team will be in your room to make sure that the moderator gets the questions that need to be asked for you. And your moderator will ask you the questions live so that you can answer them as presenters. So that's the process of how it's going to work. So you just need to keep in mind when you get into the Zoom room, the chat will be open to all of us who are in there, but the only people who will be in there are you as presenters, especially if there's more than one presenter in the session, as well as your moderator who's going to be asking you the questions, someone from obesity to make sure that those questions from the platform get to the moderator, your technical producer, and your technical moderator. And I'm going to go over the different things that we do in the room as well. So let's talk about how you're going to get to the room. So that would be through your speaker invite. And your speaker invite is going to come from speakerinvites@showcare.com as an email address. It usually goes out roughly 5 days before the conference begins, but I don't have an actual date for you right now. So there will be more communication most likely towards when that happens. But as of right now, just keep in mind that your speaker invite will come to you soon, and it's going to be a calendar invite. So it's going to take up space in your calendar, hopefully remind you a few hundred times that it's there. And then when you do receive it, when you open it up, in the body of the invite, it's going to have the name of your session, the call time of your session, which is when we want you to click that link to get into the Zoom room, as well as the full link and the dial-in information for that Zoom link as well. So we want to make sure that you have all that information so you can still get into the room by any means. And definitely you want to make sure that you're clicking the link to get into the room at your listed call time. It's going to be scheduled for your call time roughly 30 minutes in advance of when you're scheduled to go into your actual Q&A. And that's because we'll have your pre-recorded videos playing on the platform for the audience to see before you go into Q&A so that they have submitted those questions by the time you get to Q&A. And our technical producer did let me know that he will be as well, just because it's a kind of a weird experience to be waiting in a Zoom room and not seeing anything that's really going on. He's going to project into the room what's currently playing on the platform. So you'll see, oh, that's my video being played, and then that's the next presenter's video being played. So you have more of an idea of what's happening. Perfect. So when you get your link to get into the Zoom room, actually, before we get into the Zoom room, let's also talk about some ways we would like you to come to the Zoom room, just to make sure that you have a good experience for your Q&A. So one of the things that we would definitely recommend before coming to the meeting and clicking that link in your speaker invite is to, one, make sure that you're hardwired in. So if possible, do plug an Ethernet cable into your computer just to make sure it has a nice stable connection throughout the meeting. If you can't plug in an Ethernet cable for any reason, especially since it may be on a different floor or too far away, things like that, then definitely just make sure that since you're going to be on Wi-Fi only, that you let people in your vicinity know you'll be on in a meeting at that time. That's just to make sure that if you're at home, someone doesn't go upstairs, turn on their PlayStation and become primary on the network, and then all of a sudden you start coming in slow, as well as just to make sure that if you're at work, if you're still in the office, to make sure that there are not 60 users on the same Wi-Fi as you, and then you start coming in slow as well during that vital Q&A time. So we would like you as much as possible to either ensure that you're on Ethernet or just let people know that you'll be in an important meeting so that you need to be the primary user on the Wi-Fi at that time. As well, we would definitely recommend coming to the meeting using the Zoom app instead of the Zoom browser, not only because of functionality, but also just because the Zoom app does have some additional features that you can turn on and really edit just to make sure that you look and sound good in the Zoom room. So I can go through what some of these features are, just because we might also ask you to do this while you're in the Zoom room. So I'm just going to show you. Okay, so here is a visual. So for the Zoom audio settings, if you're currently using the app or you will be using the app to come to the meeting, you can turn on something like this. So you can go down to the microphone icon currently in your Zoom room, click the little up arrow, and when you click on audio settings, if your Zoom is updated, you might see this. So it's suppress background noise. It should be on auto automatically just because it's an aerial, and you can adjust it depending on what's going on around you. So if you're going to be typing, maybe you want to take down some of the questions that come to you because they're very interesting, anything like that. Or maybe you have a computer, your computer fan gets really loud from time to time, anything like that. You can definitely adjust for what's going on around you. That way it isolates your voice more in the room and we don't hear any of those sounds. So that would be a good feature to turn on, as well as this one that's right above it, which is automatically adjust microphone volume. So that should be automatically selected. I think Zoom does that as a default when you do the update on your Zoom app. But just in case it isn't clicked, you might want to click that. It does automatically adjust your microphone volume as you're talking, just in case you're like me. I used to be very loud. Right now I'm sick, so I'm not that loud, but sometimes I'm very loud into my microphone. So it helps adjust depending on my voice so that I'm not too loud to the people that I'm talking to. As well as if you go into instead the video settings. So if you go down to the little microphone icon and click the up arrow and go into your video settings for Zoom in the Zoom app, you can click this button, which is for high definition, so HD, under where your camera is listed. So that will make sure that you're having a standard video that our technical producer can grab and make sure it's projected onto the platform better. We usually do tell people, well, when they're in our Zoom room to turn on this feature especially, just because it does make for a smoother video. And as well, you can turn on this additional setting, which is under my video, right under this selection for HD. It's just touch up my appearance. So for this one, we wouldn't recommend going more than halfway with the scroller. It really does smooth you out in the room and we still want you to look like you. But definitely you can turn it on if you wanted to just touch up little bits of your appearance, since you will be primarily the main thing that people see in when you're projected onto the platform with the other speakers. So you can turn on this if you would like. And I only have Mirror My Video turned on currently because I have a virtual background. So if you have a virtual background and you want to make sure it's facing the right way, to you, it will look backwards when you turn this on, but to the audience, it'll look like it's supposed to look. So that's also one thing that you can turn on if you have a virtual background, just to make sure that if it's a logo or anything, that it's showing in the right direction that you want it to show. Perfect. Okay, so those are some settings that we would definitely recommend turning on, or at least maybe keeping in mind for when you come into the Zoom room. This HD one is definitely one that we definitely tell people to turn on, but touch up my appearance is optional. The suppress background noise is usually on auto and it usually does a great job on its own. So adjusting it is also optional. But these are just some things that you might want to keep in mind while you're in the Zoom room. Perfect. So that's going to be a part of the tech check that we usually do when you get into the Zoom room. So since you are going to most likely come into the room 30 minutes in advance of when you're actually going to be on live for Q&A, we're going to spend a lot of that time adjusting you. So you may be told things like, first of all, can you turn on HD? Second of all, if you are not sized the way that other people in the room are sized, if you're too far back or if you're coming too forward into your frame, we might tell you to adjust based on that. We might tell you to lower your chair, anything like that. So those things may come up, as well as focusing on things like lighting. So we don't want anyone depending too much on natural light, just in case, of course, the sun goes behind a cloud or something. We want you to be in a room where you can turn on artificial light if necessary. We usually recommend having something like a desktop lamp that you can quickly turn on and just have some light on your face or in the room, just to make sure that you're nice and bright to your audience. As well as if you have any audio issues, the easiest way to fix any audio issues while you're still in the Zoom room during the green room time is just to plug in a pair of wired headphones. So as much as possible, you just want to make sure that you have maybe some lying nearby, just in case your voice starts to cut out using your computer audio and we need you to plug it in. So those are some of the things that we're going to go over during your actual green room time after you click the link at your call time to get into the room. And we'll have more than enough time to make sure that each presenter looks well as your moderator for when they're going to be on camera in the room. Another thing to keep in mind when you get into your room for the green room time before you're live is that we are going to ask you not to turn off your camera. The reason for that is because we want to make sure that, first of all, we size you right when we're projecting you onto the platform. Your technical producer will be doing that in the background while the technical moderator goes through some of these things, adjusting you in the room. And it's going to be very tempting to turn it off, especially when we get into the end of the meeting. But we do want you to keep in mind that as soon as you get into the Zoom room, start getting into the habit of just not touching your camera in Zoom and just leaving it on. You can definitely leave the frame if you want to. You can mute yourself if you want to, if you have things to do, but we want you to leave it on so that nothing changes when we project it onto the platform. All right, so those are most of the most important parts that we're going to cover during the green room time, as well as, of course, reminding you that to turn off anything that might ring around you. So if you are currently using a Mac, the easiest way to silence any notifications whatsoever is to turn on Do Not Disturb during those times that you're in the meeting, because you can actually schedule it for your meeting time to make sure that nothing dings on your computer while you're talking. And if you're on a PC, the easiest way to make sure that that doesn't happen as well is just to go into your settings on your PC. So that would be going into settings. You can go into system and then go into sound. And when you go into sound and you scroll down, you'll see advanced sound options. So that will help you mute anything that isn't the Zoom room or anything that you need for the meeting. And that way, everything else is silenced while you're in the room. And the last thing that we're also going to ask, just because you will get the link to join the platform, is to not have the platform on while you're in the Zoom room. The reason for that is if you're, just like I said, our technical producer has a way now to put in the room what he's streaming on the platform, so you don't have to actually be on the platform to see what's streaming. But for all of us who get curious and you want to see what's playing, what's going on the platform, it's going to be very tempting to keep it open, but you don't want to do that because the platform does have a delay on it. So if you're watching things on the platform while you're in the Zoom room, you might miss one of our cues for when you're live or anything like that, which is why we ask that definitely, especially before you go live, you want to make sure that the platform is either silenced and minimized on your screen, or you just make sure that it's not up at all. And that way you'll be more focused on our cues while you're in the green room. And speaking of green room cues, let's talk about how you will be going live. So after we do all those tech checks with you and we adjust you a little bit and we make sure everybody's looking good, soon you'll be on camera for your Q&A. So we will be counting down to live with you. Our technical producer who's playing the videos on the platform has the exact timing of when they need you to go live. So they're going to say things like 5 minutes to live, 2 minutes to live, 1 minute to live, and then 30 seconds, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, you're live. So you do want to make sure that when you are live, that you're ready to be live, and it'll be most likely the moderator who speaks first just to introduce the Q&A. And then that way, when they're receiving the questions, you can just answer the questions while you're live. And then soon enough, the live portion will start to end. So the way that we end the live portion is the technical moderator who's in the room with you, who's not on camera during your live time, will be putting in the chat to everyone, since there won't be any attendees in the room, 5 minutes to closing, 2 minutes to closing, and 1 minute to closing, just to let everybody know, and especially the last person who's speaking, whether it's the moderator asking an additional question or a presenter answering it. Sorry, I can't speak today. They just want to let you know that the session is scheduled to end so that we can start playing the next additional videos that need to go on. So I'm just going to put an example in the chat of what it looks like. It is going to be in capital letters, but they are 100% not yelling at you. It's just to let everybody know that the room is scheduled to end. So we're going to wait until everybody goes into goodbyes. There's a natural lull. And then what happens is your technical producer will come back on the mic and say when you're clear. So that's very important to keep in mind, because towards the end, when we put the 1 minute to closing, what we usually say is keep smiling. So you're going to smile. It's going to be for 10 seconds, maybe 15. It's going to feel like an eternity. And you're going to want to, 1, turn off your camera, or 2, you're going to want to start talking because you think it's over, but it is absolutely not. So you're only clear when the technical producer comes back on and says, and now you're clear. And the reason why I make that very apparent is because we do not want to hot mic anyone, which is when you start talking and you think you're not live, but you are actually still live and the audience can hear you. So we definitely want to make sure that that doesn't happen. So we're going to tell you to keep smiling, stay on camera, and then we'll clear you. And then you can take a deep breath and the session will be over for you. So that's how this all of your sessions are going to go. We're going to make sure we tell you when you're live. You're going to go and answer your questions as presenters, and then slowly the meeting will start to end. We'll put those in the chat, and then your technical producer will clear you at the very end. So perfect. So that is how all of your sessions will be going. And we are going to make sure that we give you as much indication as possible for when we're going live and when we're not. What happens? Yes, that's a very good question. So someone just asked what happens if there aren't any questions. So the chairs, I keep saying moderators, but they're your chairs. They have been told by Obesity to have extra questions available just in case there are no questions from the audience, which does sometimes happen. So they will definitely have a question or two for all presenters. And I believe Anita is also sending them the actual pre-recorded videos. So they'll have additional questions just in case we need to fill up a longer period of time. And that way you'll still be able to answer questions on camera. That's also a good question. For how many people are attending / watching the session, Anita said that I believe there are about 2,400 people registered to attend the meeting itself. So if you ask while we're still in the green room, since somebody from Obesity will be there, they may have the numbers of who's watching at the time, but I'm not 100% sure that we'll have those numbers, but that's something you can definitely ask during the green room. And I believe someone from Obesity should be able to update you at the time. Before the session, meeting other presenters and the chair. So I believe Anita has asked the chairs to reach out to you as presenters, but I don't know if the presenters are reaching out to each other. So if you haven't heard from your chair yet, I would get in touch with Anita from Obesity just so that she can help connect you, because they did receive some documentation about that. And for other presenters, I don't know if you'll be able to meet each other beforehand, but definitely you could email Anita about that as well and just ask the question if you would like to. All right. And the last bit that I wanted to show you was just the platform itself. So I believe everyone will get a link to the platform, but like I said, you may not want to have it open while you're in your session, but definitely to see everything that's available, you'll want to use some of the tools I'm about to show you. So I'm going to share my screen. Okay, can everyone see? Yes. Okay, perfect. So welcome to the Obesity Week show site. I have early access, and I'm going to show you a few places that you'll want to visit when you do register and get in here if you're not in here already. So the first place that you would want to visit is my profile. And the reason for that is because just like when you're on any other site, you want to make sure that you know who you're talking to and vice versa for other people. So you'll want to upload a professional photo of yourself here. And once it's uploaded, you'll be able to go to the participants list. You'll always be able to go to the participants list, even if you don't upload a photo like Solimane here. So you can still go to the participants list, and this is a great way to network right away. So as you can see, a few people have uploaded their nice professional photos of themselves. These are some show care staff as well who have uploaded photos of themselves. And when you want to connect with someone, the first thing you would do is you would click the little icon under their name that says connect. So connecting allows you to, it's kind of like your relation on the platform to each other. You can easily find each other. You can also search for people using a lot of these search items here. So you can use keywords to find people. If you're interested in mentoring, you can add that as a selection. There's place for career levels. So Obesity has added quite a few things for you to be able to find other people who are interested in the same things as you, or if you want more of a targeted search. And this is how also people will be searching for you to connect as well during the meeting. But as you can see here, I've already connected directly with Anita. So my connections has appeared. So anybody who you connect with on the all tab will show up under my connections as well, just in case you just wanted to pinpoint who you connected with. And as you see here, I've officially connected with Anita. Now that we've connected, I can also directly video call her. So that would be a great way to have a one-on-one video call conversation with somebody that you've connected with. And that would just be private between you and the person. You can also privately send each other messages if you want. So as you can see on this tab, you'll always be able to directly message people when you're on the platform, even if you haven't connected with them yet. And the messaging feature is just down here in the scroller bar. So you'll be able to go down to your messages and you can easily see any messages that come in. I haven't sent any yet. All right. And so that's a great way to just one-on-one connect and privately connect with other people on the platform. The other places that I'm going to show you are going to be 100% public. So you may not want to post your contact info, things like that, that are more sensitive on the public places I'm about to show you. So one of them would be the roundtables. And the roundtables are being encouraged for everyone to create one if you would like, and they are 100% public. They support up to 20 people at a time, and it's a way to have a meeting that, oh, sorry, I'm just admitting someone into the meeting. There we go. Yes, so roundtables are a great way to have a public conversation with up to 20 people who are in there. So you can create a roundtable at any time by clicking the Create Roundtable button. And here you'll be able to enter your title, you can enter your description, you will be named as the host since you're creating it. You can schedule it for a different time, so you don't have to start it right in the moment. And you can also put it under a category, so it'll be easier for other people who want to attend to know what's going to be going on in there. So a roundtable would be a great way to have a discussion that is not your in-session experience when you're going to be projected on the platform, just in case you did want to connect further with the people who are on the platform. And as you can see down here, we already have some scheduled, which is really great. So Anita was saying that There were a few here that you might want to attend, especially like this one, the in-depth discussion. You can add it to your calendar, things like that. And since I've just mentioned the calendar, let's go into how you can use the calendar on the platform. So the full schedule on the platform has the category, has all of the sessions for the meeting. And I'm gonna fast forward to November here. All right, so for the meeting itself, if you wanted to attend other sessions, you could organize that for yourself because they'll be in either channel 1 or channel 2, and it'll show you all of the times. So you'll be able to click on the individual session. You can see what's going on in the session, what type of session it is, the target audience, etc. And when you click on the title for the session, that will go to the actual sessions page. So if you wanted to start the session because it's close to the time, you would just be able to start it right away here. Otherwise, if you just wanted to schedule your time, this is going to load in a second. There we go. We're going to fast forward back to the future. Yes, so if you wanted to instead organize, you could click the add button. The add button will add it to the personalized scheduler on the platform, and that way you can organize yourself one way through the meeting, and you never actually have to leave the platform to organize yourself in that way, which is great. But the other way you could do it is you could click this middle add to calendar button. That will instead download the information to your computer, and you can put it in whatever calendar you're currently using, like your iCalendar, Google Calendar, anything like that. So another great way to stay organized during the meeting. So that's how you can use the full scheduler, as well as, just in case you're in a different time zone than the Eastern Standard Time that's going to be during the meeting, you can always click to convert it to your local time zone. So I'm currently in Eastern Standard Time. It doesn't do anything for me, but if you weren't in Eastern Standard Time, it would definitely put it in the right time for you. And that way you would never miss a session, which is fantastic as well. All right, and I also wanted to show you channel 1 and channel 2. So for channel 1, here we go. So the channel 1 player will play everything available at channel 1 at the time. So if instead, if you didn't want to attend specific sessions, if you just wanted to watch everything that's going on channel 1, you would just click on channel 1, you'd come here, and it would be playing at the correct time on this one player. So this is also how people are going to be viewing you throughout the conference. You're going to appear here when we project your video onto the platform. So attendees will see every presenter who's in there, as well as the moderator if they're supposed to be on camera. And we're going to have lower thirds under your name instead of your actual Zoom name on there as well, just so you look even more fancy on the platform. So that's more of a visual for you. If you were like, how am I going to get on the platform? It's going to be this. It's going to be a player and your face will be here. Right. And the same thing with channel 2. So if you were instead scheduled for channel 2, or you just wanted to see what was going on channel 2 all day, you would just have the channel 2 one open, and you'll be able to see anything that is playing on channel 2 here at the time that it's supposed to be playing. Right, and as well, I wanted to show you the session. So once again, just in case you wanted to attend an individual session or an oral abstract, anything like that, you would go to the sessions tab, and then you would click the individual session. It'll show you all the information of that session since you're currently on the sessions page. And then you would have a start session button here as well for you to go if it's that time that this is supposed to be playing, and that way you could watch it. And some of the other public networking that is available would be the chat and job boards. So Anita said that the job boards are something that was done in person, and they wanted to bring that to the virtual platform. So you'd be able to see here any jobs that are posted in different categories, things like that. And then you'll also be able to see all of the chatting that's going on, just in case you wanted to post something in relation to health and policy or anything like that. So there will be lots of ways to connect with other people while you're still on the platform. And someone mentioned, do we already have access to the platform? I don't think that you as presenters have access just yet, just because we're still building, but there should be more communication from Obesity closer to when you'll get that link as well. Yes, and some of the, oh, there we go, from Candace, October 26th, maybe. So hopefully in about a week, you'll have access to this, and then you can start seeing everything that's involved. What channel you're on. So to find out what channel you're on when you do get access to this, I don't think it's going to come in your invite, because the invites mostly list like the title of your session, the duration, things like that. So if you just want to find out which channel you're on, the easiest way to do that when you register is you'll see which session that you're in, and then you can always either go to the full scheduler to find your session. Once again, I gotta go into the future. You can either go into the full session, in the full schedule to find your session. So it'll either be in channel 1 here or channel 2, and you'll see your session listed at the right time that it's supposed to be, that comes in your speaker invite. Or you can just go to, I think you can go to channel 1 and also search, but it might be a long list. Yeah, no, it's not on this page because the page would be too long. So it's mostly in the full scheduler that you'll be able to find that. Or if you go into sessions, you'll see your sessions tile, and that will also tell you which channel that you're on when you go to the page itself. So those are two ways you can see which channel you're on, but it really, for you, because you're going to be in the session, it doesn't matter as much because you're not going to be watching yourself on the platform. But if you wanted to tell other people about which channel that you'll be on, you can definitely either check in the full schedule by finding your actual session's name, or you could also just email Anita, who has all of the information, and she may be able to tell you that as well. Just in case you want to promote yourself to other people who are registered to attend and they want to see you at the time, just be like, I'm on this channel. Okay, perfect. And some of the other things that Anita mentioned that will be available as well is things like the photo gallery, which is great. And you can have hashtags and post things in relation to whatever is going on. So it's a fun way to connect during the conference with each other. There will also be a video gallery that's around the same thing. So you can post videos, right? You can add new videos to the platform. You can post hashtags in relation, another fun way of connecting while you're on the platform. And then there will also be mentors and mentees, just in case you wanted to find a mentor or you wanted to be a mentee during the conference. And you can, once again, have a million ways to filter to find the correct person based on what you're looking for in there. So that is something that will also be available throughout the conference. So all of these things you'll get access to very soon, and that way you can organize yourself and see what you would like to do for yourself while you're in the conference. But while you're on the mentors and mentees page as well, you'll see who wants to be a mentor and who wants to be a mentee. So that'll make it a lot easier as well, just in case you're looking for one or the other. There are these two tabs here that you can go through. So that is the entire platform and how you'll be really interacting with it. So once you get more access, you'll see how you want to interact with it. But that was my little spiel about the platform so far, since I do have early access. Did anyone have any questions about anything else that I've just shown you or gone over for the meetings? That is a very good question. So I believe you may have gotten feedback. I'm not 100% sure how they're doing the process. I would recommend, if you have any questions about your pre-recorded presentation, to reach out directly to Obesity, just to follow up with them about it. I'm not 100% sure if they're going to be responding to everybody's to say, yes, it's good or not. So definitely follow up directly just to get that answer. And were there any other questions as well? Okay. So then without further ado, I will give your time back to you and thank you so much for attending this prep. I'm going to make this recording available to Anita just in case you wanted to go over anything that I've mentioned. And I hope this has been super helpful. So thank you all for attending and I hope you have a great rest of your day. All right. So thank you and have a great day. Bye,
Thank you.
everyone.